studio in downtown Gainesville, here's Martha Zoller on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. Always here, always local.
White House right now, President Trump is about to meet with Japan's Prime Minister. This is a critical moment. The president demanding U.S. allies contribute more as we, along with Israel, knock down a nuclear-thirsty enemy in Iran and protect key oil shipping lanes in the Middle East. A new joint statement from Japan and other allies signaling they are ready to help secure the shipping now through the Strait of Hormuz and support efforts to stabilize global energy supplies. Now, that's counter to what some of them have previously said.
It is the Martha Zoller Show. So it looks like Shondell Summers here with me today.
Good morning.
It looks like there's now 7 of our allies that are saying they're going to help us secure the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is now, there's 4,500 Marines that are heading to, and it's interesting because we're using really old equipment. We're using the new stuff too, but we're using kind of old school stuff also. So that's happening. The UAE has said they have completely destroyed the Iranian outlets that they have within their country, the terrorist groups within their country. They announced that this morning. I don't know where we are.
The prosecution of the war is proceeding.
Yeah.
Of course, when we started this conflict, the United States and Israel had very similar goals. They wanted to topple the regime. They wanted to enfeeble the military and also terminate the nuclear program. So I think as it's progressed, it's gone to a different sort of a dichotomy between Israel and the United States. The United States now is really just interested in securing the oil supply because the oil supply dictates so much of our economic issues here at home.
Well, and I think the other part of it is, and what they're trying to do, and the one disagreement they had with Israel was that what Israel was going to start doing was the infrastructure inside Iran, which they actually did hit one of the big infrastructure oil infrastructures within. And what the United States wants is that when we get through this, they want there to be enough left that whoever takes over can actually have an economy. I mean, that's kind of the U.S. position on that. But it looks like the Israelis are, they're cooperating. I spoke this week to a brigadier general for the IDF. I mean, it looks like they're doing well as far as still being together on this issue, but not on every issue. So, I mean, it's the way it goes.
The Israelis have as their goal, like I said, they want to cripple Iran, and Iran, of course, has sworn itself to the destruction of Israel. But they also are doing things like striking Hezbollah, taking the opportunity to take out these pesky little Houthis and Hezbollah terrorists who constantly are causing problems for Israel. And of course, it's a global problem. And I think that what we have done so far is make sort of weird deals which seem a little counterintuitive in order to ensure that we have enough oil supply. Like they have decided to unsanction the Iranian oil, which puts money in the Iranians' pockets, but also increases the oil production and supply globally. They've unsanctioned the Russian oil, and then basically just released strategic supplies from our government.
But it is interesting because there's like three levels of Iranian leadership that's been annihilated. Okay, 3 groups of people that have been annihilated, but yet they still have these spokespeople going out there saying we're like the toughest people. It kind of reminds me of that scene in the Monty Python movie where the 2 knights are fighting, and the one knight's got his arm cut off, and then he goes, "Oh yeah, but I'm still going," and then it's and it keeps going from there. So the national security or these kinds of things, war actions. We can't know everything that's going on. Okay, even some of the things that get released to the public aren't actually true because there's like gamesmanship that's going on because you don't want your enemy to know everything that you're doing. And that's, that doesn't work. So unfortunately, my view is you kind of do have to leave it up to the president and the security structure to do this, because you can't know everything.
Well,
it's
of course,
not possible for us to know everything.
I would think wars are always include some type of propaganda, and you want to throw the enemy off. You make statements. These are very strategic statements. I mean, in fact, I think Marco Rubio realized that a couple of weeks ago when he said that we did this because Israel was going to do this first, and we wanted to prevent some kind of conflict. So it sounds as though Israel pushed us into this war. I think that Donald Trump probably has always had an inclination to do whatever it takes to protect Israel, and I'm happy about that. It's like one of the few things I'm happy about.
Well, and I mean, and let's be honest with there's Iran has a contract out on Trump, contract out on Mike Pompeo. I mean, they are a threat to us.
They are a threat to the world.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised they've lasted as long as they have. I mean, it's only been 18 days. I think we're in such a different time warp now. You know, I mean, World War II was 4 years, and it's 17 days, and everybody's like, oh, my gosh, we're in this huge conflict.
I know.
It's like, what? We're stuck in another Vietnam.
My father was shipped out in World War II, and my mother did not see him for 3.5 years. Yeah. Okay, she got letters that were blocked out. I mean, he'd write letters, but by the time they got to her, there were whole sections of the letters that had been marked through because somebody looked at the letters before they got to her to make sure he wasn't giving away, you know, where he was or anything like that. I mean, I remember during the Iraq War when we went to these 1-year deployments during Vietnam, and that was supposed to solve problems. But I remember a kid in the Iraq War said, oh, God, I'm going to be gone for a year. I said, and I told that same story. I said, my father shipped out and was gone for 3.5 years. My mother did not see him for 3.5 years. I mean, that's kind of what war used to be. Now it's 17 days and people are going, man, it's been 17 days. It's the end of the world.
It's interesting, too, how sophisticated the war is compared to something like World War II, in that most of the strategy involves defensive systems which stop the drones or the missiles. And if you don't have those, you're kind of out of luck because the missiles are going to come. And then you've got Ukraine weighing in because they're so used to this guerrilla warfare.
And the drone warfare,
And the drone warfare. And these drones are nothing. They're like $4,000 little capsules that they can send and wreak all sorts of damage. That's why the Strait of Hormuz is such a problem, is because you've got these people who have pickup trucks, and from the back of their pickup truck, they're coming down and shooting at the tankers. You hit one of those and it's going to explode. So it's an interesting war to watch. I think I watch it probably 4 or 5 hours a day. I just turn on the TV and see what's going on.
And it's so funny how a lot of the people that I don't even know if they're opposing the war, that are just speaking negatively. Let's just put it that way, because I don't think they know what they support or oppose. They always want to tie it back to Israel. And I was laughing with my friend Lisa Wexler. I said, you know, there's 15 million and Jews. They interchange Israel with Jews, okay? And I said, there are 15 million Jews in the world. And there are 2 billion people that live in Muslim countries. Okay, so you think that this little 15 million country, even if you add us in, and it's now 350 million, okay, that we're the ones causing all the problems in the world? I don't understand that. But it is historic, it's almost biblical, it is anti-Semitism, and that's where that comes from.
Yes, I've been surprised by that too. I think there are people who are just oppositionally defiant when it comes to politics. And right now, the Democrats were kind of doing well for a while. I think Trump completely dropped the ball on immigration. What happened in Minnesota was an atrocity. But then
he's
this
trying
happened.
to fix that now.
Yeah, it's a bit of a distraction to start a war.
I don't think he did that. That's not why he did it.
I don't care why he did it. I support it.
Yeah,
I think it's high time that they stop the threat to Israel.
Yeah.
And, you know, Israel's definitely responding and
it's a good force in the world.
Israel is the best military in the world.
So to shift gears kind of back home, because we've got this stuff going on in Iran, and we've got this Department of Homeland Security situation where I think what the Democrats are really mad about is that they did get kind of snookered in the big, beautiful bill because the funding for DHS and border security through 2028 was in that bill. So what they're arguing about has already been funded. Okay, it's been funded till 2028. Everything else that they're holding out for, most visibly in the airports is where you're seeing it. And what I find interesting about that is that, and I had a long conversations with the staff of both Senator Warnock and Senator Ossoff yesterday, because I said, look here, I'm going to vote against you guys, okay? But here's what this looks like. This looks like your boss, who can book themselves on 5 different flights in the course of a day to go home. Okay, so that's a benefit that you get if you're a member of Congress, that you don't know exactly what time you're going to be done with session, so you can book yourself on the 4 o'clock to Atlanta, the 5 o'clock to Atlanta, the 6 o'clock, the 7 o'clock, all at one time, and no other normal human being can be on 4 different flights in the same day. They're not allowed to do that. You have to be on one at a time. But they do that as a perk of being a congressman or a senator. And not only that, they get picked up at the curb of the airport and driven around to the tarmac. They don't have to go to the gate. They don't have to go through security. They don't have to do any of that kind of stuff. So not only are they getting paid while these people are not getting paid, and I say on both, a pox on all their houses related to this, they have this benefit that is a perk like you wouldn't believe, okay? And the people they're supposedly fighting for aren't getting paid. And it just looks terrible.
Well, listen, I think this is a problem that the Republicans have created by refusing to separately fund the TSA. Democrats have proposed for weeks, let's pull TSA out of this funding bill and do a separate bill and vote on that to fund TSA. But they don't want to do that because that's their leverage. And they believe they're turning the narrative around to where it looks like the Democrats are being unreasonable and holding out. And I have to admit, it does appear that way at this point.
Good.
So my suggestion for the Democrats is let it go through. Let it get funded. Go ahead and fund the government.
Because it's only one department. The rest of the government is funded. It's just this one department, DHS.
Right.
Yes.
It's DHS. And of course, they want things that I think are very reasonable concessions. They want to have the ICE agents obtain judicial warrants. They want to,
Which the Republicans have agreed to.
Which they have agreed to. They want them to not wear masks.
They've agreed to that.
And they want them to
body cameras. They agreed
have
to
the
that.
Body cams.
And wear ID.
Right.
The Republicans have agreed to all of that.
Right. So I think those are reasonable, and it's time to back off. Personally, I have traveled in the last few weeks. I actually went to D.C., and Reagan International is just a pleasure to fly into.
Yeah, I like
It's
Reagan.
the coolest thing in the world. And I didn't see any signs of problems, but I'm going to travel again in a few weeks, and I'm not exactly looking forward to it.
This weekend's going to be terrible because this is spring break week for a lot of
Right.
people. It's going to be
Right.
terrible. We'll take a break. We've got some phone calls. We'll get to it. And this is what I love about the discussion. I think we're agreeing on this. We'll be back.
Travel with Anita is celebrating Women's History Month with 3 remarkable women who shaped America's history. Hear their stories and places you can explore. The adventure begins when you reach into your pocket. Saturday from 1 to 2 on WDUN. Always here, always local.
Looking for the right tools, equipment, and expert advice for your next project? Head over to Howard Brothers. They're the best one-stop shop for outdoor projects. With locations across North Georgia and a team that's always ready to serve, let Howard Brothers be your go-to for outdoor power, service, hardware, and more. Stop by today or visit howardbrothers.com. The grass is always greener and projects always easier when you take care of it with Howard Brothers.
While technology has certainly changed the way people do business, it hasn't changed the way we treat our customers. It's Mike Cormier, and at Hardy Chevrolet, we are as committed to excellent customer service as the Hardys were when they started the business here in Gainesville over 4 decades ago. When it's time for a new or used vehicle, remember what Charles Hardy always said.
We love you and we need you.
Together, let's drive. At Hardy Chevrolet, Brownsbridge Road in Gainesville, online at hardychevrolet.com.
You already know Gainesville Mechanical for their award-winning HVAC service, but did you know they handle plumbing too? Because plumbing problems never happen at a good time, you need a trusted, experienced team there when they do. From small leaks to major repairs, Gainesville Mechanical is here for you with 24/7 no overtime rates through their Customer Assurance Maintenance Plan. Proud to be named Best of Hall for HVAC and plumbing, Gainesville Mechanical and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep North Georgia cool since 1989.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-515-1771. That's 800-515-1771. 800-515-1771.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, Flowery Branch City Council approves a pre-development agreement from the city's Old Town Redevelopment Plan. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Attention travelers, and welcome to Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Whether you're heading home or just passing through, we hope you enjoy your extended stay in the security line. This delay is courtesy of Senator John Ossoff. While you wait, take a moment to thank Senator Ossoff for blocking funding for the Transportation Security Administration and the United States Coast Guard, putting Americans at greater risk, both in the air and here at home. Thanks to John Ossoff, disruptions from the government shutdown are now slowing travel through America's busiest airport. So sit back, relax, and get comfortable. You may be here a while.
And Ed Bastian, my big thing is caucus over, constituents over caucus. Is Ed Bastian, head of Delta Airlines? He ought to be somebody that people listen to in Atlanta anyway. And he said, look, enough is enough. And they're trying to give them some money, but TSA doesn't technically work for them. They're giving them vouchers for meals and they're doing things for them, but it's crazy. We're going to talk more about all of this. It is the Martha Zoller Show. You can join us on the phones at 770-535-2911. Let's talk to Joe in LJ. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Martha, you got a great program as always. I'm down in Sea Island. You got a lot of fans down here that listen to your show, and I want to commend you because you and Shondell different parties, but you get along great. And there's, I'm a strong Republican. I only vote Republican, but I've got Democrat friends, and they have every right to express their beliefs, and I commend them for that. And that's what makes the great country we have today. We have people that express themselves like you and Shondell do, maybe different, but you're kind and you don't use bad words to cuss anybody out.
Not too
so anyway,
often.
I just want to commend you as I have before. You have a very positive, very informative program, and I appreciate what you do very much. Keep up the great work, my dear.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's go to the phones now and talk to Chad in Oakwood. Hey, Chad, how you doing?
How y'all doing today?
We're good.
Beautiful day. God has blessed us again, Yeah. You'll be sitting in your seat talking to everybody on the radio there. You're blessed too,
Oh, I do know that.
I just want to say this. All the Democrats and the libs protesting Iran and what's going on over there, they shot and killed 35,000 people for protesting.
3,500, 35,000.
If you don't like America, go join them over there in China and see what happens to you.
Thanks for your call today, Chad. Chad, it is kind of funny to me, though, when you have a lot of really, I think, some uninformed protesters over here sometimes where they immediately went from, being, all anti-Israel to being pro-Iran. I mean, it was just like overnight. It was like crazy. And it's just like, I know the joke is Queers for Palestine,
right.
But you couldn't live in a place like Iran. And they had a wrestler that won awards a few weeks ago that's made some comment that he shouldn't have made, I guess. And when he got back to Iran, he got murdered. And, and so we've got to understand what this is.
Well, I was in 2 locations, the Beltline in Atlanta, and I saw a large contingency of Iranian flags, and they were all pro-Iran, like overthrow the dictatorship. And then in Washington, when I was there, same thing on the street.
Yes.
A lot of those demonstrations going on.
A lot of demonstrations with Israeli flags, Iranian flags, and U.S. flags.
Yes. So I think there is that. I think over here at least. I haven't seen the massive mobilization that you did with the whole Gaza movement.
Yes.
Where people were, marching in the streets for Gaza. And this time it seems like it's much more subdued, if at all. I think, people recognize that if you're a Democrat, you really need to think about your national security more than anything, because all your lofty principles will fall by the wayside if you're dead, and if we don't protect ourselves, then we are going to be in a situation where Iran is just out of control and they start launching nuclear weapons at Israel, and then we're going to come to the defense of Israel, and then China's going to go after Taiwan. I mean, we have to kind of be the country that establishes the world order.
So interesting you mentioned China, because they've been very quiet through this whole thing. And from what I understand, they did allow some of their hypersonic weapons to be used by Iran, and the Israeli Defense Forces were able to shoot them down before they came over. So they've been very quiet. And the president was supposed to go to China next week, but I think they're going to change that meeting. But I think the fact China and Russia voted with the 135 countries at the UN to support the Arab nations, not Iran, is a big thing.
Getting out of bed is easier when you have something to look forward to, especially if that something is a delicious Dairy Queen biscuit. Right now, you can get 2 homemade sausage, egg, and cheese biscuits at Dairy Queen for just $6.
We interrupt this commercial to let you know that the Mint Oreo Blizzard is now available at Dairy Queen. We now return you to your regularly scheduled commercial.
A new Blizzard flavor and a breakfast special? There's plenty to look forward to at Dairy Queen of Gainesville, Shallowford Road in Green Street, and Frontage Road in Oakwood. Breakfast available only at Gainesville locations. Blizzard's available at all 3.
Building, moving, remodeling, they all create more waste than will fit in your average garbage can. Thank goodness for Waste Eliminator. They offer roll-off dumpsters in all sizes. Just visit wasteeliminator.com, click on Order Dumpster, and they'll deliver just what you need. From simple home cleanout to large commercial projects, Waste Eliminator handles it all. Schedule your roll-off dumpster today at wasteeliminator.com. Environmentally responsible and committed to customer service. It's Waste Eliminator.
Spring into growing season with Farmers Exchange in Cleveland, Georgia, your local headquarters for growing solutions. From custom blended fertilizers and expert crop protection to top quality nursery plants, garden seed, and lawn care products, we've got everything you need to grow with confidence. Come see us at 951 South Main Street in Cleveland, where knowledge meets service and success takes root. White County Farmers Exchange, providing growing solutions since 1928.
Get breaking news fast. Sign up at accesswdun.com for breaking news alerts via text. Log on to accesswdun.com for details and to sign up. You can also sign up to receive local weather and sports alerts. Get the news first with breaking news text alerts from Access WDUN and North Georgia's News Talk. WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 9:30.
Fox News, I'm Therese Crowley. President Trump vows he'll do whatever's necessary to keep the price of oil in check as 7,800 U.S. strikes continue decimating the Iran regime 3 weeks into Operation Epic Fury.
Nobody even shooting at us.
Energy Secretary Chris Wright tells Fox Business.
The market has seen that the United States is going to be very pragmatic here. We have an interruption of oil flows, and we want to fill it every way we can.
Including unfreezing sanctioned Iran oil at sea that will add 2 weeks of supply as the U.S. and allies work to safely open the Strait of Hormuz. Oil down slightly, but gas prices rose another 3 cents. The American family of Jimmy Gracie thanked the world for the kindness and prayers after Spanish police divers recovered the college student's body near the Barcelona nightclub he was last seen on spring break. Say everything points to it being an accidental death. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow. Gainesville police confirm a male suspect is dead. Multiple officers recovering from their response to a domestic disturbance from a 6-hour standoff this morning. A release from GPD's social media says their officers were called to Briarwood Drive and Skyline Drive after 10:30 Thursday night, encountering an unidentified male shooter who struck one officer with gunfire. Police reportedly returned fire, which led to the standoff that brought Hall County Sheriff's SWAT teams, Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, and Flowery Branch Police in to assist. An explosion heard just before 5 this morning in the area led to a final confrontation 15 minutes later. That's the multiple rounds of gunfire sounding off, with 2 more Gwinnett police officers hurt, but reportedly in stable condition. The suspect later died at a nearby hospital from his injuries. That case now under GBI investigation. And an assistant principal at a school in Gwinnett County is being recommended to be the next principal at North Hall High. WDUN's Lawson Smith with more.
Hall County School Superintendent Will Schofield announced Thursday that he will recommend Dr. Ryan Van Plew as the next principal at North Hall. Van Plew is currently the assistant principal at Seconder High School and previously served as assistant principal at nearby Mill Creek High School in Gwinnett.
You can find more details and more news at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN forecast.
Good Friday morning, North Georgia, and the sun is shining, and it looks like just a few clouds here and there. Highs this afternoon in the mid-70s. Partly cloudy skies tonight, milder with lows in the mid-50s by early tomorrow. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
At Sugar Hill, 51 degrees incoming, and in Gainesville, 49. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Hi, I'm John Shackelford, Executive Director of Eagle Ranch. For families in the middle of a struggle, knowing what is needed and where to go for help can be hard. To support these families, we created First Step Counseling. This new program allows families looking for help to meet with an Eagle Ranch counselor to share their story and make a plan for healing and renewal before starting therapy. Counselors are standing by and ready to meet with you and your family in person within a few days, so no long wait list. And like all Eagle Ranch services, no one is turned away because of financial constraints. Schedule a call with our First Step team today by going to eagleranch.org.
Something new is coming to your neighborhood. This April, Exchange Bank is opening in Brazelton. I'm Anna Hollis, and for over 122 years, we've been Middle Georgia's community bank, offering our personalized service and our commitment to being a place where community matters. Now we're bringing that same commitment to Brazelton. We can't wait to be your neighbor and help your financial dreams grow. Learn more at exch.bank. Exchange Bank, member FDIC.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
System for generating material benefit for the people. And that's what we need to restore in Canada. I want to make it the freest economy in the world.
Well, that all sounds amazing. How the hell did you lose? How can a rational person not vote for that? I mean, you're not saying anything that's restrictive. You're not saying anything that is in any way infringing on people's rights or liberties. Or it just sounds like it's all just 100% positive for Canada.
That's what I think. That's my mission, and I think it will be positive. And we'll get there. You know, Canadians do things through evolution, not revolution. So I'm just going to keep pushing my ideas, and I think overwhelmingly we'll win the next election.
It is the Martha Zoller Show. I'm here with Shondell Summer, and Ron Hart is back with me. We've had a little hiatus with Ron because I had a heart attack and I wasn't working on Fridays. So we welcome you back, Ron. And, you know, there's this movement that's going on. Pierre Poilievre is the more kind of conservative running in Canada, but obviously conservatives in Canada are different. But he is a free market person. You see what's happening not only in Argentina, but in even the UK with the people that are running against Keir Starmer and around the world, that there seems to be a movement of common sense that we haven't seen in a long time. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they realize that socialism doesn't work. Venezuela, Cuba, all these despot countries that are run by dictators, that central command and control doesn't work. Free market does work, and kids toy with it. You know, most kids young. I read an article the other day about New York City and the Madami case. They said like 25% of people in the area there, Brooklyn, New York, et cetera, work for nonprofits, which means I don't know if they're NGO money funding these little left-wing organizations, or they're just actually, you know, people have money and they're giving it away, and they're going to work for nonprofits up there. But these are soft people that are going to vote for Madami, who fall prey to that easy sell of, we're going to give you everything, we're going to tax the rich and give you everything. Truth is, it's never worked in the history of mankind. It will never work in the future. So I think people hopefully will understand that. The media will let the message through, like you're doing.
Well, you know, did you see that Kathy Hochul, who's the governor of New York, was at a Politico meeting, and you know, they were talking about the taxes that Mamdani wants to put on people in New York, and, you know, that he thinks that, you know, by taxing all the billionaires that he can do all the things he wants to do for the city. And Kathy Hochul has basically said no. And she went as far as to say what Mamdani needs to be doing is helping her go to Palm Beach and convince all the New Yorkers that have moved to Palm Beach to come back to New York and start paying taxes again. So it's so funny that I wouldn't say Kathy Hochul is anything but a pretty liberal Democrat, but numbers are numbers. And if you look at California and New York, people have moved and left and gone to other places.
Yeah, people vote with their feet, as Reagan said, right? They leave and they can go. That's what's great about having 50 states with different governments, different tax rates, different styles of doing things. And like when Bernie Marcus left Georgia had a 6% income tax in Georgia. It's going down a little bit, not much. Georgia really needs to go lower. They always said they're going to do it. They never do. But Bernie moved to Boca Raton, basically, moved his residency down there when he, you know, the last 10, 15, 20 years of his life. They got a huge hospital down there. There are other things, ancillary things that come from a billionaire being in your town, right? They'll give a wing to a hospital. They'll give to charity. They'll spend money in the community. There's a ripple effect of a wealthy person moving. Conversely, there's a terrible negative effect when they leave New York City, right? Their houses for sale, depresses prices up there. They're not paying property taxes anymore. They're not paying income taxes anymore. I mean, you just can't tax above a certain level. California sees it right now, the billionaire tax, which is one of the stupidest things in the world. It doesn't fund the government for very long. They've lost a lot of these people who also take with them jobs. I mean, the biggest misnomer about wealthy people is somehow we become a billionaire. You're having a servant feed you grapes and caviar every day, and you're sitting there. You know, it's not the way it works. Most of them are pretty frugal. And the money that they have, they put it back in the community. They buy warehouses, they buy a new business, they employ people.
So from 2023 to 2025, these are the people out of the Fortune 50 companies that have moved to Florida, moved their residence to Florida. These are obviously people that can have residences all over the world and probably do, but they've made their residence Florida. Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Ken Griffin of Citadel, Larry Page of Google, Sergey Brin of Google, Howard Schultz of Starbucks. That one surprised me because he was from, he's Larry Ellison of Oracle, Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, Carl Icahn. Of the top 50, 10 of them moved to Florida between 2023 and 2025, or moved their residence to Florida. And you know why they did it? Taxes.
Yeah, Elon moved to Texas. Joe Rogan moved to Texas,
yes.
Zero income tax. Yeah, they moved there, and I don't blame them. I'm in Tennessee, and I'm in Tennessee for a reason. I wouldn't touch Georgia again. I mean, I was there a long time ago, but I wouldn't touch Georgia. I mean, I don't think you get anything for your money. Traffic's bad. It's a liberal It's a liberal Democrat city, Fulton County. I'm scared to death, of the whole county in terms of the crime and stuff in Atlanta. I'm out. And I tell you what, I've been gone. When I go back down there on occasion just for meetings, I just don't like it. It's crowded. You can't get, I don't know. I just don't like it. So there's a lot of places to live. There's even these second-tier cities, Greenville, Beaufort, South Carolina, Chattanooga, places like that are really growing. They have a nice lifestyle.
Hey, Gainesville, Georgia. I know you're
Gainesville,
talking about
Georgia,
getting out of, but if you haven't been to Gainesville lately, I mean, it's booming. Yeah, it still has the Georgia tax rate, but we're an hour and a half from Atlanta, and we've got a beautiful city.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's a nicer lifestyle. The schools are controlled by the parents. You don't have the liberal indoctrination in the schools. You don't have as much crime. There's a lot of reasons why you live in a smaller town, especially the internet these days. You can work from home. You have high-speed internet. You can do a lot of stuff from there. You don't have to be in an office anymore. That's kind of an antiquated notion.
Well, and you occasionally have to go see your grandchildren too, right?
Exactly. Well, mine were here too, so I moved most of mine. Well, yeah, I got the one down there. Yeah. You got 3 now.
Yeah, she's got 3. That's right. Well, Ron, thanks for being with us today. I wanted to know if you're going to write. Did you write a column, or are you going to write a column about the gay Ayatollah?
I did last time. I wrote about him. The gay Ayatollah. They said it was really gotten pretty hard. They say he missed the Oscars because he's in a coma. And they say he woke up and found out he's gay, and then the real litmus test is whether he watches the Tonys or not.
That's right. Anyway, thanks for being with us today.
All right, take care.
Appreciate it. We'll take a break.
In North Georgia,
it's the topics that matter to me.
We're your eyes and ears in the community with the latest breaking news.
It's the most important thing we face.
AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. Always here, always local.
Dermatology Associates of Northeast Georgia is Northeast Georgia's leading dermatology practice, offering cosmetic and medical dermatology services and no surgery. Our experienced medical providers are available at 3 locations, including Gainesville, Demarest, and Dahlonega, to care for our local community. As 1 in 5 Americans will develop skin cancer by age 70, our medical providers remind you of the importance of yearly full skin exams. Book your appointment today and help us beat America's most common cancer. Learn more at negeorgiaderm.com.
Some car dealers want to sell you a car. At Hardy Chevrolet, we'd rather help you find the vehicle that's right for you. This is Mike Cormier. We call it the Hardy Chevrolet difference. Since you're the one who will be in the driver's seat of that new Chevy, we think you should be in the driver's seat when it comes to making the selection. It's like Charles Hardy always said.
We love you and we need you.
Together, let's drive. At Hardy Chevrolet, Browns Bridge Road in Gainesville, online at hardychevrolet.com.
United We Run for those struggling to make ends meet. Join us Saturday, March 21st at 9 a.m. as we race through Phase 2 of the scenic Highlands to Islands Trail. This event features a 5K and 1 mile fun run with every step supporting United Way of Hall County's One Hall United Against Poverty initiative. Make an even bigger impact by becoming a sponsor. For more information and to register, log on to unitedwayhallcounty.org/race.
Attention, Antifa, human traffickers, cartels, and woke DAs. With Chris Carr as governor, you won't stand a chance.
I'm Chris Carr. In Georgia, we will prosecute you. It's easy for politicians to talk tough, but I'm the only Republican who put gangs, human traffickers, and Antifa behind bars. I even fought Obama, Biden, and Abrams in court and won. If you're attacking our police or our freedoms, I'll be your worst nightmare.
Chris Carr doesn't just talk tough. Carr had the courage, brought the cases, and locked up the criminals. He has more than 120 gang convictions. Over 200 human trafficking victims have been rescued and seized enough fentanyl to kill 3.5 million Georgians. Carr's taking on the woke left, making crime illegal again. As governor, Chris Carr will keep up the fight and never back down. Chris Carr, governor. Real fights, real wins, real conservative. Paid for by Carr for Georgia.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, 2 Gainesville police officers in stable condition following a fatal standoff with a shooting suspect early Friday. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
I guess in a general sense,
there's no justification for trying to kill kids. So I don't know, whether you blame it on something that's going on someplace in the world or not. I'm sorry. No, that's not acceptable. You don't go into somebody's house, or in this case a house of worship, and try to kill kids from 0 to 5 because something happened in another part of the world. You can't justify that crap to me, period. Sorry.
It is the Martha Zoller Show. That was the mayor of the city that had the synagogue attack last week. And so supposedly this person who was neutralized, I love that word, he was neutralized by the security guards, meaning he was killed by the security guards.
I thought you meant like radicalized. But
No, he was neutralized by the security guards. And supposedly in the pictures he sent to his family before he did the event and the things he posted on social media was that because his brother was killed in Iran or wherever he was killed, that he was going to go do this. And what the police officer is saying, or the chief of police is saying, I thought he was the mayor, but he's the chief of police, is that I'm sorry, that's not an excuse. You have a bad thing happen to you over here. You don't go and try to kill children over here.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the understatement of the year.
Of the world, yeah.
And it's frightening that we have all of these sort of lone wolf, these cells within the United States. And these are people who came over here and were naturalized.
Yes.
In many cases. So I don't know if we do a better job of vetting or if we make the period between getting here and getting assimilated longer. But that's just, I don't know what we do about it. I've never had a solution for all of this terrorism, whether it's domestic or international.
So in 1924, we cut way back the number of legal immigration into this country. And a lot of people said, oh, it's just, looking back on it, it was racism, blah, blah, blah. But it really wasn't racism because these were mostly people coming from Europe. I mean, you know what I mean? It was just that the level of people got so high when we had immigrated 1 million a year. We started out with a population of 75 million. For 40 years, we were letting 1 million people a year come in, and the assimilation rate was slower. And they were having not the kind of terrorism problems, but they were having gang problems, and they were having other kinds of crime problems that were from that era. And so they said, okay, we're going to shut this down for this period of time. And then from 24 to 64, it was very low levels of immigration. And so, and of course we had a war in there that happened, and a depression and some other things that would have led to that. But I think you're right. It's you get to a level, and I don't understand the idea. Why would you immigrate here if you hate this country? Now, I don't know if they were radicalized before or after, but if you come from a country that has been radicalized, that doesn't like America very much, I'd like to think they want to come here because they want a better life. But why would you come to a country that you don't like the way they live, you don't like the way they do things, they don't like, and you want to change everything? I don't understand that.
Right, and those are the people they need to do a better job of vetting. It's people from those source countries that have been, and I'm sure there are people over there who are very
want a better life.
And want a better life, and they come here for the right reasons, but there's also that element. And it also seems to be embedded in the community. So you get these communities of people because that's what people do. They hang out with like-minded people.
Yes.
And within that community, there's radicalization.
Yes.
And we have that here, too. I mean, there's certainly plenty of domestic terrorism. There is sort of the neo-Nazi element of the white movement, white Aryan movement, and things like that. So it's not just foreign countries. But I do think that our immigration policy over the years has been largely one of fear that there would be a group that would take over from the prevailing white establishment. And that's always been the argument in favor of limiting immigration, was to keep the white people in power.
No, I really don't. I don't think it's a racial thing at all. I think it's that there are certain things that are American American ways of doing things that aren't about race. They aren't about race. Everything is not about race, okay? And you look at it, and there are certain things that we believe in. You know, I had this one BBC reporter that said he always made it a point to go outside of the cities, because you would come across people in Iowa or Idaho or Michigan or wherever had a very clear understanding of what American democracy was, okay? And people understand, and it's worth protecting. And that's not white or black American democracy. You know, I think that growing up in the South, sometimes we look at things through this race lens a lot more than what actually happens, because, you know, and the definition of race changes too. Like I pointed out, people used to think if you came from Italy, you were a different race from the other Europeans. You're not a different race from the other Europeans. In fact, you know what people don't really understand? People from India are actually Caucasians. Did you know that?
No.
As a race, they are Caucasians. And so race is not just about the color of your skin, and it becomes too much of an issue.
Okay, well, let me edit my comment to say
edit the comment.
White male domination.
Well, I don't agree with that
and,
either.
You know, this is a resurgence under the Trump administration. Now we've got like DEI as a bad word. We don't want to include anyone. We don't want to diversify our workforce. We want just the people that Trump likes, right?
No. That's not what DEI was.
You've got that element here, and I mean, you can deny it, but that's the way the world works. White males are still in charge, and there's been progress. Women are starting to assume more positions. We've never had a female president. No one.
They're waiting for me.
Candidates.
They're waiting for me. Let's go to the phones now and talk to Nathan and Lula. Hey, Nathan, how you doing?
Hey, I'm on the air now?
Yes.
Hey, I'm calling on behalf of the Hall County Democrats, and I just wanted to let them know about our upcoming forum. It's on Sunday at 2:30. If you want to come out and meet our candidates who are currently going through their primaries and ask them questions, things that pertain to our community, they'd love to hear from you.
Where will that be, Nathan?
It's gonna be at the Gainesville Civic Center.
That's good. And actually, that's a great lead in. Caleb Hutchins and I just were working yesterday to lay out the candidate interviews we're going to be doing between now and the primary. And so we will interview everyone that has opposition, Nathan. You know, if you don't have opposition in your primary, we won't be talking to you, because you will have opposition obviously in the general, and then we'll talk to you there. But we're going to be bringing in all the candidates that have primary opposition.
That's great, and those folks, they'll be there at the forum if you want to ask them questions there as well.
Great.
So I'd recommend if your viewers actually want to hear from the horse's mouth on what Democrat policies are, they'll be there to speak their mind.
Well, that's great, Nathan. Thank you so much for calling in and letting us know about that. And I got to tell you, I do think that one thing, not just in Georgia, but not just here, but throughout Georgia, I think the Democratic Party has done a very good job of recruiting candidates, even in races they're probably not going to win, because it's good to have opposition, number one. And number two, it will get more Democrat voters out if you have actually candidates running in the races.
And they are very much pushing the recruitment of candidates. So the
Did they ask you to run?
Yes, I did get asked to run. And I thought of that.
But they don't agree with you about Israel.
It would be tough. Really, it's the money, quite frankly. I mean, I don't mind.
And you ran years ago, though. You ran for State
True.
House years ago?
Yes, State House. I ran against Carl Rogers
back
in the day.
Back in the day.
That was a quick campaign, over and done. But it's, it was a very interesting experience, and it certainly was educational, but enough to where now, as an older person who's been through life, I would say no to the idea of running for office because of the money, the vast amounts of money you have to raise in order to do it, and not to mention the fact that they promise you everything. This is what I learned from the first time. They promise you everything if you do it, and then you get in there and they don't know who you are, right?
Yeah.
So I thought better of it.
So that's Jeff in Murrayville. We got the next caller. Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
Morning, Martha. Appreciate your show as always, and appreciate Shondell coming on there and giving her ideas.
Thank you.
I do want to take issue with her. talking about white males. If it wasn't for a white male, she probably wouldn't be here. But we don't want to give them too much credit.
Right.
So, white males pretty well got us to this point. We're not speaking Japanese or German, so I'm going to give them some respect in that. But she said something about the liberal arguments always that we need to watch out for neo-Nazis and white supremacists and the Aryan Brotherhood, and I certainly condemn those folks. But I haven't seen a lot of them lately, if any, in the last 30 years, maybe, around here. But I sure have seen a lot of socialist, communist Democrats, and I hear a lot more Islamists that kill people and shoot people, and the transgender movement that kills a lot of people. So the argument that neo-Nazis are the boogeyman seems like that's an old, tired, worn-out argument.
Well, I think in popular culture, I don't know if you were paying attention to the Academy Awards, but the movie that won the Academy Award was One Battle After Another, which is fabulous. It's a great movie. And that whole premise of that is that there's sort of an underlying racial component to immigration policy, and there always has been. And it's because of the power. I mean, people seek power, and white males have been in power in this country
here's
forever.
And Jeff,
and they still are.
Jeff, thanks for your call today. Here's where I would disagree with you about that. Legal immigration in America is about 1.1 million a year. The largest single country, as far as the quota is concerned, is Mexico. They get, of the 1.1 million, about 150,000. They're the one largest single country. If you look at the numbers out of India, the numbers out of many countries where people have brown skin, the people that we allow legally into this country outnumber from white countries, okay? Or so-called white countries. I don't know what a white country
Norway
is anymore. Yeah.
Denmark.
I mean, but they also now have huge numbers of Muslims in their country, so they're not as white as they used to be, okay? But the point is, if you follow legal immigration, you can't look at those numbers and what the numbers are by country and say, oh, it's only the white countries they're letting in, because it just doesn't hold up by the numbers.
No, I don't think it is only the white countries they're letting in. I think there is always a fear that unchecked immigration will cause toppling of the white male.
See, and I just don't think that way
socioeconomic situation we have in this country.
I hear you. I just don't think that many people sit around and think, let's protect the white people. We'll be back.
What if my surviving children are in the middle of a divorce? Can I see to it in advance that my assets go to them and only them? This is Kevin Tharp, elder law and estate planning attorney, and the answer is yes. There are steps that you need to take now in order to ensure that your assets go where you want them to go. It's up to you, however, to make the first call. Visit my website at kevintharp.com and learn how to get help planning for your family's future.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-478-6430 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-478-6430. That's 800-478-6430. What do you have to lose? Call 800-478-6430. Again, 800-478-6430.
WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 10 o'clock.
The U.S. has now hit Iran with more than 8,000 airstrikes. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. But on day 21 of Operation Epic Fury, Iran keeps countering.
Early this morning, multiple Iranian drones hit a Kuwaiti oil refinery, causing a partial shutdown. Drone attacks on Saudi Arabia continue, as well as here in the Emirates. Yesterday, Iran attacked the largest gas field in the world off the coast of Qatar, as we reported. New estimates say $20 billion in lost revenue after 17% of the field was knocked offline.
But oil and natural gas prices are down a little this morning. Fox's Lucas Tomlinson also reports from Dubai.
Israeli forces overnight announcing a new assassination of an Iranian leader, this time a spokesman for the IRGC, who played a role in the slaughter of more than 30,000 Iranian protesters and likely opposition leaders as well, according to the IDF.
And speaking of Iran's crackdown on those protests, hours earlier there were 3 executions.
These 3 protesters were killed in a public hanging yesterday after being charged with taking part in the January protests of attacking and killing a policeman. But reports have indicated they may have been tortured and forced to confess. Amongst them was 19-year-old champion wrestler Salih Mohammadi. He's a famous young athlete who has become a symbol of the uprisings, and his death is also a symbol of the regime's message: dissent will be crushed.
Fox's Benjamin Hall. President Trump wants Congress to provide $200 billion in new funding for the Iran conflict, though Democrats already opposed that. Just as they plan to block a voter ID and proof of citizenship bill, the president just posted on Truth Social it must be passed. There's nothing more important for the U.S. The seasons are about to change. The snowiest, coldest winter in decades for many ends later this hour, but while spring gets sprung here, fall begins south of the equator from Brazil to Australia. In the southwest U.S., Fox meteorologist Adam Klotz tells us it's already like summer.
Across portions of the desert southwest in California, where the heat has been extreme the last couple of days, we could see over 100 record-breaking highs.
America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow. Developing story from overnight as Gainesville police confirm a male suspect is dead. Multiple officers recovering from their response to a domestic disturbance after a 6-hour standoff early this morning. Gainesville Police social media page says officers were called to an area of Briarwood Drive and Skyline Drive after 10:30 p.m. Thursday, encountering an unidentified male shooter who struck one officer with gunfire following a dispute. Now, police reportedly returned gunfire, which led to the standoff that brought Hall County Sheriff's SWAT offices and Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, along with Flowery Branch Police, to the scene to assist. An explosion heard just before 5 a.m. in the area led to the final confrontation 15 minutes later. That's the multiple rounds of gunfire Access WDUN heard, and the injured officers were reported in stable condition. Now, the suspect died at a nearby hospital from his injuries, according to officials. Gainesville police authorities are going to have a press conference within the hour for further details. GBI has confirmed 2 people died from their injuries following a Tuesday officer-involved shooting at a Veterans Affairs clinic in Jasper. WDUN's Caleb Hutchins reports.
The GBI said that 34-year-old Nick Cruz of Marietta was injured during the initial shooting and later died. 51-year-old Lawrence Charles Michels of Jasper was also shot and killed in the incident. The agency said the shooting happened inside the clinic on East Church Street at around 1:30 p.m. Michels was at the clinic for a walk-in mental health consultation and was inside when he shot Cruz, who was employed as a social work case manager there.
An assistant principal at a school in Gwinnett County is being recommended as the next principal for North Hall High School. WDUN's Lawson Smith reports.
Hall County School Superintendent Will Schofield announced Thursday that he will recommend Dr. Ryan Van Plew as the next principal at North Hall. Van Plew is currently the assistant principal at Seconder High School and previously served as assistant principal at nearby Mill Creek High School in Gwinnett. Schofield touted Van Plew's experience, citing high graduation rates at the 2 schools he helped lead in Gwinnett. Schofield will make his recommendation to the County Board of Education on Monday.
And the Boys and Girls Clubs of Lanier unveiled a brand new playground at the Joseph Walters Club in Gainesville on Wednesday. More details and more news found at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN weather forecast.
Good Friday morning, North Georgia, and the sun is shining, and it looks like just a few clouds here and there. Highs this afternoon in the mid-70s. Partly cloudy skies tonight, milder with lows in the mid-50s by early tomorrow. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
In Blairsville, 49 degrees. In Winder, 54. And in Gainesville, 52. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
They lied. They cheated. And they broke the law. Liberal losers forced illegal migration on hardworking Americans. But conservative businessman Rick Jackson is ready to fight back.
I don't care if you're Muslim or Mongolian. You don't have the right to force your culture on our country.
Corrupt career politicians let the invasion happen, then made it worse. But conservative businessman Rick Jackson isn't going to let them get away with it.
Too often, criminal illegals commit sick, violent crimes, victimize our children, and get away with murder. So here's my guarantee to them. Do that when I'm governor, and you'll end up deported or departed. Any questions?
It's time to win big for Georgia. Rick Jackson, the Trump-supporting, straight-talking, successful businessman with nothing to lose. Rick Jackson for governor.
Paid for by Jackson for Governor Inc.
Talking about the issues that affect you most. It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. Now from the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, here's Martha Zoller on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. Always here, always local.
I think it's fair to debate the merits of the war, and you guys do that every day, and we all do that, and whether it was imminent or not. But I think what jumps off the page here about this resignation letter, which I think we have to just call out here, is that Kent writes, "It is clear we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby." Now, there are two things about that. Number one, I think it's disrespectful and wrong to assume that the United States and the president, especially this president, whatever you think of him, does not act on his own agency and on behalf of the United States of America.
Usually just
number
his
one.
agency. It's usually his own agency.
But on our own accord for the United States. But number two, I think we have to call this what it is.
President, you don't think he acts in his own benefit?
No, he's saying, I'm saying that he acts. He does not get coerced by other nations like Israel.
Okay. Wow.
I think it's a decision on behalf of the president. But I also think it is a very old school anti-Semitic trope to blame the Jews.
It is the Martha Zoller Show. And before we get to our guest, Shabbos Kestenbaum, who I'm so excited to talk about, I want to remind you that we did have a shooting of a Gainesville police officer last night, and in a domestic event that happened overnight. And at 10:30, there will be a press conference related to that, and we will be carrying it on our Instagram channel at Access WDUN. So the perpetrator in this case was neutralized, which is my new favorite word for getting rid of bad guys. And we're going to hear more about it at 10:30. Shabbos, welcome back to the program. How are you?
Hey, good morning. It's good to connect.
Thank you so much. So you've been involved in a lot of discussions lately, and the one that brought me back to you was one where you were talking about, the myths around Israel, AIPAC, and Islam. And we saw even more recently with the Joe Kent resignation letter that even in the highest levels of government, you have people that are blaming Israel and being anti-Semitic about it. And I think you do such a great job of defending that point. And you came to this very interestingly because of your time at Harvard. So, just give us a quick update about where you are today, and then I'd like to talk about the discussion you had recently related to that.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, to your point, thoughts and prayers are certainly with the officer in Gainesville, and we've seen that there has been a record rise in assaults, not just against police officers, but also border enforcement officers, and really all the men and women who put on uniforms. So thoughts and prayers are with them first and foremost. To your point, I grew up on the far left. I voted for Bernie Sanders, marched with BLM, did all the things that I'm now seeking and repenting for. But yes, I saw firsthand the political indoctrination and then just the outright lies. So currently, I'm a political commentator at PragerU. I'm actually now based in LA, so it's 7 a.m. where I am. So there aren't many shows that I would call in this early, but you're a proud exception.
Thank you.
And I would say, you mentioned Joe Kent, who we certainly respect and honor his military service, but we don't honor and respect the abject lies that he has been saying. So first of all, he praised the killing of Qassam Soleimani during Trump 1 as an example of how Trump used to understand how to decisively apply military power without getting us into a never-ending war. However, at the time of the Soleimani strike, Kent said that this would plunge America into an endless war and that Iran would most likely escalate into a full-scale war. Of course, that never happened. Joe Kent claimed that his wife died in what he called a war manufactured by Israel. I mean, she was unfortunately killed in 2019 by an ISIS suicide bomber while fighting in America's war against ISIS in Syria. So I know that the popular thing in our political culture is just blame Israel for everything. But the reality is the facts and the data and the history just don't support any of these accusations. I mean, I've met with President Trump. I'm sure you met with President Trump. I'm sure many of your viewers know the president. This is not someone who can be coerced by anyone, let alone a foreign power. This is someone who in 1980 gave an interview saying we should be invading Iran after they put, their hands on American hostages. This is someone who has been remarkably consistent on Iran dating back more than 40 years, saying the greatest existential threat to the West is a nuclear Iran. So this is not the beginnings of a war. This is an ending of a forever war after Iran had more than 600 American lives on its hands, after killing hundreds of American civilians, after taking American hostages, after being the greatest supplier of terrorism, not just in the Middle East, but across the world. So this just is a fruition of President Trump's foreign policy that America first is not America alone, and that you receive peace through strength.
So I wanted to ask you, because there's been a lot of confusion, I think, about who is on what side of anything. And the biggest surprise to me has been Tucker Carlson. Okay. And, I wrote for Tucker Carlson in the early days of the Daily Caller. I have to say that, when I have reached out to him over the years, he has been, helpful and reasonable. Okay. I mean, that is the Tucker Carlson that I knew. He went to the White House recently. The president met with him, but he's also really hard to follow these days. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so look, I can't cast aspersions on what's on his internal compass. I can't really speculate his motives. What I can say, and this goes back to the earlier point, is when someone is lying. And Tucker Carlson, unfortunately, certainly since October 7th, has just a remarkable track record of lying and making things up. Whether it was silly things like being arrested at Ben Gurion Airport, which was demonstrably not true, whether it was 2 weeks ago saying that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Qatar had arrested Israeli Mossad agents in their country for planting false flag operations, which was so demonstrably true that I think for the first time in recorded history, Al Jazeera, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia had to publicly denounce Tucker Carlson, saying that he was making it up. This is someone who just yesterday lied and said that Winston Churchill imprisoned the opposition leadership during World War II, which not only is that not true, Winston Churchill actually had a unity government, so he actually had the opposition leadership in his government. This is someone who had just 3-4 days ago had Carrie Prejean Bowler, who's the fired White House Religious Liberties Commission, to lie about me. She actually lied about my testimony. She lied about what I had said. And, what's great about living in the age of the internet is it's pretty easy to fact check these things. I can encourage your viewers to watch my testimony, and you can see how both Tucker and Carrie Prejean just lied. So I can respect people having differences of opinion, especially when it comes to the war in Iran. It's a hot button issue. What I cannot respect is people who just lie, and they know better. And Tucker Carlson, and I want to be absolutely clear, is a pathological liar. He is lying to his audience. He is lying to his listeners. Why is he doing it? I don't know. But what I can say, and this is what many in the conservative podcast verse have been dutifully aware of, we have an obligation as conservatives with platforms to be truth tellers. And that means we have to tell you the truth, even and especially when it's inconvenient and uncomfortable. And unfortunately, we have seen conservatives betray the trust of the American people and instead focus more on likes and clicks rather than the truth.
Now, you were raised in a very Orthodox Jewish home, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. And then you went to Harvard, if I recall correctly from our interview, just to kind of, you wanted to see the world a little bit, right? See a little bit of a different kind of world. And you did that. And your voice has become so important for young people. And not just young people, but especially young people, because you're clear thinking, you tell the truth, and you're unflappable. Okay. And I think and I know that you've been attacked from a lot of different areas. I want to ask you kind of a two-part question. First of all, How does your family responded to kind of the direction your life has taken? And then secondly, and not with any name, I don't want names and dates, but just like in general, how have they responded? And then how has your life changed since we started talking around October 7th?
That's an interesting question. Yeah, in terms of my family, I always use the term cautiously proud, especially when I'm talking about my parents, because I think they are proud of me. I mean, I'd like to think that the work I'm doing provides some type of solace and comfort to my community. At the same time, though, it's been, I don't say difficult because I don't want to sound like a victim, but I do receive a significant amount of death threats. I'm attacked quite often in both mainstream media and social media, so it hasn't been easy. I've been yelled a lot in public, so typically now when someone says my name, I kind of just ignore it and keep walking. So that hasn't been pleasant, but at the same time, this might have actually been a Winston Churchill line going back when he says, "Judge me by my enemies." So, people who burn American flags and the people who call for the eradication of Western civilization and the people who don't believe in religious liberties, if those people don't like me, I think that's a great affirmation that I'm doing the right thing. And if anything, I don't want them to like me. In fact, if they did like me, I would find that quite concerning. Why do these people like what I'm doing? So it's, as I said, it's a real honor to be given a platform. As limited as it is, it's nevertheless a platform to create change for the country I was born in and raised in and love, and that's, of course, the United States. But my parents are my number one arbiters of whether I'm doing the right thing or not. So after I do a media interview or after I do a debate or whatever it may be, I always try to call my mom, and so long as she's proud of me, I guess that's kind of what counts.
It's
so
funny
let
because
that be a lesson to the young America. Always listen to your mom.
That's right. So it's funny because my mom, when I started getting into media and getting a little more notoriety and started to do a lot more television with opinions and things like that, she was proud of me. I understand that the way you couched that. She was proud of me, but she was kind of afraid that I was putting myself out there and that I would be in danger because I was putting myself out there. And so I can relate to that. And now I have 4 children and grandchildren and all of that kind of stuff. So, I can relate to that. Mom is always going to be your biggest cheerleader, but she's always going to worry about you. So that's just the way it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So what's on tap now? What's your next big project?
Yeah, well, as I said, I'm now at PragerU, and we have 2 brand new shows. One is called The Brief, and that's where we take a big topic and we dissect it in depth. That's a once-a-week show, so we just had the great political commentator Scott Jennings. We had the Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon. We had the Israeli ambassador talk about Iran, so your viewers can definitely check that out. And then the second show, which I think is sorely needed, is a show called Theological. And once a week, we sit down with a leader from a different faith, not to debate, not to argue, not to engage in gotcha, but to really just understand what their faith says about particular topics. Because certainly since the murder of Charlie Kirk, there are lots of young people across this country who are searching for meaning, searching for answers, searching for values. And we at PragerU want to be a platform and a resource so those young people can find those answers. And even though I'm certainly an Orthodox Jew and I'm very proud of my Jewish heritage and upbringing, I'm also aware that I live in a Christian country. And in fact, our sages like Maimonides wrote more than 1,000 years ago that we Jews have a particular obligation to be appreciative and grateful to Christians because it was Christianity that spread the idea of messianic expectations and monotheism in a way that we Jews never did. So for any young people who might be listening, you would do yourself and your country a tremendous service if you went back to church, if you learned the New Testament, if you lived the life in accordance with the teachings and values of Jesus. I say that very comfortably and enthusiastically as an Orthodox Jew, that America needs religion, and dare I say Gen Z now more than ever needs religion.
Shabbos Kestenbaum, thank you so much for getting up early for me. I appreciate you.
Always a pleasure. Take care.
Thank you. We'll take a break.
Every community thrives on its local businesses. Are you supporting yours? This is Phil Bonelli, the host of North Georgia Business Radio. Each week, I sit down with local business owners for the trade secrets that make their businesses work. Join us Saturdays at 3 on North Georgia's News Talk, WDUN.
Spring is calling. Are you ready to grow? At Full Bloom Nursery, we're kicking off the spring season with 5 acres of perennial shrubs and trees, all ready for your next outdoor project. This is Julie. I'd like to invite you to come experience the difference of a true nursery. Take a stroll through our display gardens and let our knowledgeable staff help you choose the perfect plant for your space. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and Saturday from 9 to 2. Learn more at fullbloomnursery.com and follow us on Facebook to see what's growing.
Spring into growing season with Farmers Exchange in Cleveland, Georgia, your local headquarters for growing solutions. From custom blended fertilizers and expert crop protection to top quality nursery plants, garden seed, and lawn care products, we've got everything you need to grow with confidence. Come see us at 951 South Main Street in Cleveland, where knowledge meets service and success takes root. White County Farmers Exchange, providing growing solutions since 1928.
When you have a problem with your roof, you want someone who can respond quickly, but also who knows roofing. That's what you get at Georgia Select Roofing. This is Chris Earls, and we do roofing right. Estimates are free, we can help you navigate your insurance claim, and we also offer financing. Check out our Google reviews, and you'll see that Georgia Select Roofing offers the best service around. See us today at georgiaselectroofing.com or call us at 678-316-6899. Family owned and operated, Georgia Select Roofing has you covered.
Spring is knocking, and that lawn is not going to cut itself. Get ready to mow smarter with Exmark mowers from Howard Brothers. With Exmark, you get durability, precision, and performance you can count on season after season. And at Howard Brothers, they've got the expert advice, trusted service, and equipment that works as hard as you do. Stop by Howard Brothers today or visit howardbrothers.com and power your spring with an Exmark mower.
Does your office technology slow your team down? Nothing is more frustrating than printers that jam, copiers that won't connect, and service providers that don't follow through. You and your team deserve technology that works. I'm Matt Nick, president of Duplicating Products, and for over 50 years, we've helped North Georgia offices eliminate bottlenecks, reduce downtime, and get reliable support for office technology. Our promise, we do what we say we will do. If you're tired of office equipment headaches, it's time for a change. Visit us today at duplicatingproducts.com.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, the superintendent of Hall County Schools has tapped his choice for the next principal of North Hall High School. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
This is Captain Cody Cork. He's 35. He's from Winter Haven. Normally, the pictures I hold up are of bad guys. This is a hero. This man went off to war at the direction of his country. He was in the U.S. Army Reserves. He was called up. He died in the early days as a result of an attack. His casket is arriving tomorrow at about 1 p.m. in the afternoon. We are escorting him to the funeral home. His family's asked that we escort him past Florida Southern College, where he went to college, so we'll be doing that. City Police, Orange County Sheriff's Office, Hillsborough Sheriff's Office is going to work with us. It's going to be a big escort. This man is a hero, and he died.
It is the Martha Zoller Show. This was the hometown in Winter Haven of one of the 13 that has died in this Iranian operation. And, you know, what I'm thankful about on this, I mean, not that they died, of course, but that I think there's been appropriate attention on the losses so that we can be aware of those. They're not trying to sweep them under the rug.
No, they've done a very good job.
Very
with
respectful.
dignified ceremonies and certainly highlighting the circumstances. The plane that crashed, the fuel refilling plane, that was very tragic as well. But unfortunately, when you're in armed conflict with people where they're shooting at you and you're shooting at them, there's going to be casualties. So I think it's honestly, not to take anything away from what you just played, but it has been fairly minimal considering the amount of destruction that's been done.
Well, the biggest difference I think between war today and say war even Vietnam era, okay, is that in Vietnam we lost about 150 soldiers a day, and when you get that number. I mean, and I understand, even though I don't like LBJ and I think he prosecuted the war poorly and, all of that, he was known for getting up in the middle of the night when the casualty lists were coming in because of the time difference in Vietnam, and he would look at them every night. And I felt that was respectful. I hope it was respectful, his design to do that, but he did that. In the war on terror, the global war on terror, we lost roughly 4,500 in Iraq and maybe about 2,800, 2,900 in Afghanistan. Those numbers may be a little off because I'm doing them from memory. But that was it throughout an entire conflict. We just don't do battles anymore like D-Day where we plan on losing 10,000 men in one day.
Right.
It's not as person intensive, even though there's still jobs people have to do and they put their life at risk. It's different today.
And civilian casualties still occur.
Yes.
Because of the way that, especially in the Middle East, they use these civilians as shields. So the civilian casualties do occur. It's unfortunate, but that is what happens when you get into an armed conflict, which is why we try very hard to avoid it. But when you have an actor like Iran, which is really just an existential threat to the United States and to the rest of the world, you kind of at some point have to just pull the trigger and say enough.
Yeah,
I think they did their best to negotiate a resolution.
At the time of the hostage taking in 79, and then later with the Marine barracks in 83, I understand why Reagan pulled out of Lebanon, because he really was focused on bringing down the USSR. And that was really more his focus. He didn't feel like he could do two fronts. But I think we emboldened Iran to go down the path. They ended up going on being the state sponsor of terrorists because we didn't respond immediately to the hostage situation, and we didn't respond immediately to 241 Marines being killed in a barracks. And the list goes on. The coal. I mean, there's a whole list of these events that we sort of brushed under the rug instead of taking action, and that just emboldens the bad guys. I'm sorry, it does.
Absolutely. The Iran hostage crisis in 1979, I was in college. I'll never forget it. I thought the world was coming to an end.
Yes.
But there was nothing done. And every day on the news, they would say, it's been 250 days. Kind of like they did after October 7th. Very similar hostage reaction.
But at least Israel was trying to get them back.
That's right.
That's right. Anyway, thanks for being with me today.
Always a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. I'll be here until the top of the hour, and we'll keep talking about the issues of the day.
This is Mike Cormier, General Manager at Hardy Chevrolet. Some folks think that the automobile business is just about selling cars. At Hardy, we know it's more than just that. For us, it's about helping that young driver with their first car and helping that growing family that needs a bigger car. It's about relationships. It's about family. Drop by for a visit and you'll understand what Charles Hardy always said.
We love you and we need you.
Together, let's drive. At Hardy Chevrolet, Browns Bridge Road in Gainesville, online at hardychevrolet.com.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaid spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Denny Hamlin wins in Las Vegas, scoring the victory in the Pennzoil 400.
This is a whole team effort. I know that the record books will say my name, but I'm really, really proud to be part of this team.
Now it's time to dance with the Lady in Black. It's the Goodyear 400 from Darlington. Sunday at 2 on North Georgia's home of NASCAR. WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 10:30.
Fox News, I'm CJ Papa. Could boots be on the ground in the Gulf? Fox Business's Lauren Simonetti.
Axios this morning says President Trump, quote, is considering plans to occupy or blockade Iran's Karg Island to pressure Iran to reopen the strait. And that move could put U.S. troops, A, on the ground, and B, directly in the line of fire, according to Axios.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson reports about 2,000 Marines from San Diego are being sent to the Middle East. Flyers still facing long TSA lines.
The shutdown is finally hitting a breaking point. We're watching a massive spike in TSA agents calling out sick. We're talking about 1 in 10 agents nationwide not showing up for work.
And Fox Business, Darren Botello, actor Chuck Norris, famous for action movies like The Delta Force and Missing in Action, is dead. His family said he passed away yesterday. He was 86. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
WDUN. From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow. Gainesville police confirm a male suspect is dead. Multiple officers recovering from their response to a domestic disturbance from a 6-hour standoff early this morning. The Gainesville Police social media page said officers were called to the area of Briarwood Drive and Skyline Drive after 10:30 Thursday night, encountering an unidentified male shooter who struck one officer with gunfire. Police reportedly returned gunfire, which led to the standoff that brought other neighboring agencies to assist. An explosion heard just before 5 a.m. Friday in the area led to a final confrontation. Minutes later, that's the multiple rounds of gunfire sounding off. The injured officer is reportedly in stable condition. The suspect later died at a nearby hospital. Gainesville Police and Hall County Sheriff's Office is holding a press conference at this hour, which can be viewed through our AccessWDUN.com Instagram page. Northeast Georgia Health System received national recognition for at-home health care as U.S. News & World Report listed NGHS's Home Health as a Best Home Health Agency for 2026. More than 12,000 home health agencies across the country were evaluated, and only 17% received the Best Home Health designation. You can find out more details and more news by going online at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN weather forecast.
Good Friday morning, North Georgia, and the sun is shining, and it looks like just a few clouds here and there. Highs this afternoon in the mid-70s. Partly cloudy skies tonight, milder with lows in the mid-50s by early tomorrow. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
In Helen, 54 degrees. In Decula, 58. And in Gainesville, 57. From North Georgia's News Talk AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
I'm Tommy Howard with the Norton Agency. Did you know the National Referral Services simply want to capture and then sell your name to half a dozen or so real estate agents? We're local. We're different. You are not a number or a commodity. Our primary mission is to find you that perfect home. You need Norton now more than ever. Call us at 770-532-0022 or look for us on the web at gonorton.com. Our family is serving North Georgia for 4 generations.
Rise and shine with M&R Equipment and Rental. Your project success is our first job of the day. Whether it's landscaping, construction, or home renovation, we've got your back with our wide range of high-quality tools and equipment. We make starting your day easy. Simply pick your tool, choose your rental period, and get down to business. No job is too big or small. From saws to skid steers, we've got you covered and at prices that won't break your budget. Visit us at mnrrental.com. We're here to help you build a brighter tomorrow.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Let me pick a beautiful person from Japan.
a question for the Prime Minister. Go ahead. Yeah, sure. Oh, he doesn't believe he's beautiful. Oh, he's sounding shy. Go ahead, please.
Of course, no, Japan and US are very good friends. But one question: why didn't you tell US allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran? So we are very confused about we Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan?
Okay, it is the Martha Zoller Show. I thought that was hysterical yesterday when he said that. I mean, because our relationship, of course, with Japan is very good today, but 4 years ago, they attacked Pearl Harbor, and 85 years ago, they attacked Pearl Harbor, and it was a sneak attack. And that's what you do in war. You have surprise. Now, my friend Mark Halperin did a really good analysis, and I was going to call for this last segment, Logan, but we'll call for it now. Did a really good analysis of what's gone right and wrong in the war in Iran. Here he is.
What's going well? There's widespread reports, Washington Post and elsewhere today, saying that the Iranian leadership now is confused, it's paranoid, it's struggling to coordinate running the government, running the military operation. And some Iranians are quietly cheering. Not a lot of reports. We thought there'd be more, frankly, coming out of Iran. But when people get to talk to folks in Iran about what's happening, the activists, the people most interested in trying to foster regime change, they're well aware of what's happening and pleased about it. Another thing that's going well is markets in the United States and around the world. Now, gas prices are up, oil prices are up, and we've seen some days of the markets taking a hit in the United States and elsewhere, but not what it might be. You always have to imagine what it could be like. And in talking to people in the financial sector, what they say is there's some confidence in the part of the president. There's also a belief that this will be a short conflict. And some people like to talk about President Trump, chickening out. But more, they just believe this could be a short war. And that it
is the Martha Zoller Show, and I wanted you to hear a little bit of that, and also to remind you that on our Instagram channel at Access WDUN, there is a live feed of our press conference related to the event that happened last night. You heard at the bottom of the hour the news, the shots fired. Our own reporter was coming into work. Steve was coming into work, and he heard it, and he was able to jump out and get that for us. But we are going to have an update that will be on our Instagram, Access WDUN, for the press conference that's going on now. And we'll keep you updated throughout the day on that. We wish the best to all of those that were involved in that situation. We like to say here that we're around the corner and around the world, that we talk about the things that are happening in the world, but we also talk about the things that are happening right outside here on this first day of spring. And it's important that we do that. So thank you for being with us today. You can join us on the phones at 770-535-2911. You can also text us at that number. And we got a text in that said, Martha, is it true that southern states are being affected more with the TSA not being funded? Obviously, the busiest airport is Hartsfield-Jackson. However, you never hear anything about Chicago, LA, or cities that are blue states. I don't think that that's the case. I think it's more what you've said about being the busiest airport. And Chicago O'Hare they have reported quite a bit on that. We go back and forth with Chicago O'Hare being the busiest airport. They have had some long lines there, too. But you're right. You don't hear much about New York or L.A. At that particular point in time. But I think it's just also easier to get audio and video from the Atlanta airport because it is the busiest one. But I think it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. And Ed Bastian, who's the CEO of Delta, made some comments earlier today or yesterday about just we need to get to the end of this. And I think we have those, Logan, the comments from Ed Bastian, when you get that. And just let me know when you have those. Because, look, yeah, I don't know. You don't want to be pushed around by Delta Airlines, but you do want to be pushed around by Delta Airlines because they provide a lot of jobs and a lot of things right here in our community. Here's Ed Bastian.
It's inexcusable that our security agents, our frontline agents that are central to what we do, are not being paid. And it's ridiculous to see them being used as political chips. So, we're outraged. And if there's a call to action here, and I think over 90% of the American public support those people getting paid, ask our folks right here in Washington to do their job, get our people paid. They can do it.
So the Democrats are saying, well, we put this bill out there just to pay the TSA. But let me just kind of lay out what the truth is here. In the big, beautiful bill, they were able to get funding for funding for Border Patrol and ICE through 2028. Okay? That is a moot point. The president has already said that, hey, Democrats, we will dispense with masks if you'll tell your people to stop doxing these folks and telling them where they live. We'll put identification on, we'll put body cameras on, and we will stop going to what you're saying, going to churches, schools, things like that. That's not actually happening, but they said that they would do that because that's what the Democrats said they wanted. So the Republicans have said, we will give you 1, 2, 3, 4 that you've asked for. I'm sorry, folks. In the real world, in my relationship with Logan, in my relationship with my husband, in my relationship in my work life, I don't get everything that I want. In the Congress, you don't get everything that you want. The Congress now, the Democrats in Congress have now been given 4 of the things they've asked for related to DHS, and they still are digging their heels in. All while, and I'm going to criticize Democrats and Republicans here, all while John Thune needs to take a vote on this every blankety-blank day. But secondly, John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock do not live under the same rules that you live under at the airport. If they're coming home like they may be coming home today, they shouldn't be. They should be working all through the weekend. But they may be coming home from today, or they may have come home yesterday. They were able to be on the 4 o'clock flight, the 5 o'clock flight, the 6 o'clock flight, the 7 o'clock flight. You and I cannot be on 4 different flights on the same day going to any locations. We can only be on one flight at a time. Okay? Or a connecting flight. We can only do that. But they can be on 4 things, 4 or 5, and then they do not go through the security lines. They get picked up at the curb and they get taken to the tarmac where the plane is. That's not right. They are not living under the same rules, and they are continuing to get paid. They are continuing to get paid while all this is going on. So we've got a lot of work to do. We need to get DHS funded. They need to vote on that today. I'm sure they've gone home. My next guest, Teresa Morgenstern, will know the answer to that. But folks, our senators and congressmen, for that matter, don't live under the same rules you and I do. And we're going to get through this, where DHS is going to be funded, and we're going to get a new head of DHS and Mark Wayne Mullen. But what we need to do is go back to the old days before Graham-Rudman. When Graham-Rudman was passed, there were these 2 things that were created that have become political weapons, and that's government shutdowns and trying to balance the budget. Neither one of those things has happened, but government shutdowns are now being used as a political weapon. Prior to Graham-Rudman, there were 40 or 50 or 60 government shutdowns, but we never shut anything down. The funding went on at current levels until we decided, because we're grown-ups, or we're supposed to be, and you come to an agreement. I'm paying taxes every week. The people that work for me are paying taxes every other week. There's money coming into the government. There is money to fund this. There is no reason why these TSA workers should have to go without their pay except for the stubbornness of the Democratic minority in the United States Senate. We'll be back.
And the schools and the agents, they have ruined college sports. It's insane.
It's Todd Starnes weekdays at noon on North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Spring is calling. Are you ready to grow? At Full Bloom Nursery, we're kicking off the spring season with 5 acres of perennial shrubs and trees, all ready for your next outdoor project. This is Julie. I'd like to invite you to come experience the difference of a true nursery. Take a stroll through our display gardens and let our knowledgeable staff help you choose the perfect plant for your space. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and Saturday from 9 to 2. Learn more at fullbloomnursery.com and follow us on Facebook to see what's growing.
Got hills, heavy brush, or tough terrain that's slowing you down? Howard Brothers has the solution. VinTrack mowers. Built for steep slopes and demanding terrain where traditional equipment struggles, VinTrack is engineered to handle the hard jobs. And with more than 30 available attachments, it's not just a mower, it's a year-round machine. Schedule your demo with Howard Brothers today and see what VinTrack can do for you.
With over 5 decades of experience providing top-quality dermatology care in Northeast Georgia, Dermatology Associates of Northeast Georgia is your trusted partner in keeping your skin healthy and beautiful. Our comprehensive range of medical, cosmetic, and surgical services, including Mohs surgery, is designed to meet all your dermatology needs. Book your annual full skin exam today at any of our 3 convenient locations in Gainesville, Demarest, or Dahlonega. Visit us online at negeorgiaderm.com to learn more.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, Flowery Branch City Council approves a pre-development agreement from the city's Old Town Redevelopment Plan. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
It is the Martha Zoller Show, and before we get to our guest, I just want to remind you that there is a press conference going on related to the officer-involved shooting, the officer that was shot last night here in Gainesville, responding to a domestic dispute. That press conference is going on right now, and we are carrying it live on our Instagram at WDUN, at Access WDUN, so we want to make you aware of that. So thank you for that. Joining me right now is Teresa Morgenstern. She's the former senior comms advisor to the White House and the former Pentagon deputy press secretary. And we're going to talk a little bit about DHS as well as the confirmation of Markwayne Mullin. Teresa, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Martha. I'm so glad to be on. I'm a fellow Georgia girl, so
very
it's good
good
to be on a hometown show.
Yeah, so where are you from?
I am actually from a town called Brazelton, which is not too far from where you are.
Oh, yeah. We love Brazelton. It's like a suburb of Gainesville now. It's crazy.
Truly, it is.
It really is. Listen, so here we are. We're in this situation now where DHS is still shut down. And I laid out for my listeners that basically the thing they're mad about, the Democrats, the funding for that has already been settled. So really they're arguing about parts of DHS that really impact regular people. And we've got this situation now where I think the Senate needs to be taking more votes on this and just forcing people to put themselves in there. But we got to get back to this. The White House has already said that they will add cameras and they'll talk about masks and they'll have identification available. They are compromising with what the Democrats say they want, but the Democrats are not moving at all.
Right, exactly. The White House has negotiated with the Congress on this. And they've, like you said, given some reforms to ICE, like body cameras, more training, things like that. And yet the Democrats still want to be on the opposite side of the issue every time. They're on the opposite side of this issue that Americans are behind as well. But again, once again, they're on the other side of the issue. And so, look, here we are. I don't know how many days into it, a month into it, and hopefully the Senate brings it up for a vote. I think today they will. But again, it's, as always, they're on the opposite side of the issue.
Well, and while these senators, Democrats and Republicans, they can book themselves on multiple flights. They don't have to worry about waiting in the line of security. They are getting their paychecks. You know, they are not living under the rules they're making everybody else live under, and we need to fix that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And Martha, I actually saw the video today. I don't know if you saw it, but the lines at Hartsfield-Jackson is around the baggage claim and out the door. And Americans are hurting from this. Even airline CEOs have called for the end of this shutdown. And so this is on the Democrats to pass it. Look, again, they're on the opposite side of the issue. Americans are hurting, and we're hoping by the end of next week it'll be done. And we have Senator Mark Wayne Mullen coming in, hopefully, to come and end this. But it's on them. The White House has negotiated. What's the wait for?
So I'm glad you mentioned Senator Mullen. When I was working for Cox Media, I did a show in Tulsa, Oklahoma for a year. And so I got to interview him when he was running for Congress the first time. And I just think he's an amazing guy. I mean, he's rough around the edges. He's direct. He's a lot of things. Yeah. But he's also very consistent and a really good person. And I think that he has the skill set to be able to run the Department of Homeland Security because, you know, whether you liked the idea back after 9/11 of putting all these agencies together, the fact of the matter, that's where we are right now. And so we need somebody that can run all of these agencies.
Yes, and I'll tell you this, from what I've seen, from the reporting I've seen, Mark Wayne Mullen and Tom Homan have a really good working relationship, and they've already gotten together to see what they can do to move forward to make DHS a more functioning agency, obviously dealing with the shutdown, enforcing those negotiations that the White House and Congress have come to when it comes to the reforms at ICE. But it bothers me, Martha, that Democrats want illegals. They're choosing illegals over Americans when it comes to this.
Yeah, they are. They are. So this week, the president kind of rolled out an initiative that he's going to put the vice president in charge of relating to looking for fraud. I kind of thought, sounded to me, and I know this is a left field question, but it sounded to me a little bit like it was the remaking of Doge, you know, because in a way, looking for this fraud is really what Doge was supposed to be doing. And I kind of miss Doge. I really do, because they were finding all the things, you know, that I think ultimately is the reason why we're seeing a little bit less spending this year than we did last year. We're still not where we need to be, but I think they were very positive in what they accomplished.
I agree with you. I love that point you just made, Martha, that this new fraud task force that Vice President Vance is heading is kind of like a Doge effort, right? Look, we know there's bad fraud and abuse out there, not only at the state level, like from what we've seen with Minnesota, but it's probably rampant in other states as well. We know that there's a ton of fraud happening with things like CMS at the federal level. And so this is a great job for Vice President Vance. Doge was just the tip of the spear, right, for this administration. We knew the government needed to be reformed. We knew we had to make it more efficient. We had to make these cuts across the board. I was a huge personal fan of Doge, having worked in the federal government before and seen it myself. And so I'm excited to see what this will come out with. And I don't think Doge is done. I think there's a ton more work to come out of it. We just, there's a million things happening under this administration. That's just one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's exhausting, really. I mean, there's something going on all the time. And it does keep everybody on their toes, though. And I think that's important. Now, we do have, of course, the war going on in Iran, and it's really a factor of our shortened attention spans that we think, 17 or 18 days into this war, that somehow this is a forever war. I mean, the forever war was the 47 years that we did nothing and we let Iran take advantage of us in every way that they could. But we're in a place today where it does look like something's happening related to the Strait of Hormuz, and we're getting some of the people back on track that should be helping us. So what's the status now on that?
Yeah, so President Trump here is playing the long game with this. First of all, again, you mentioned we're about 19 days into this conflict, and I don't even want to say conflict because we have all the power and pressure here to get rid of the Iranian regime and the threat that they pose to the United States and to Western democracy abroad. And so President Trump knows what he's doing here, and he saw the options in front of him and took the option that was the most effective in terms of doing this fast and quick. When it comes to what's going on now with petroleum and fuel, the president does have options in front of him as well in order to secure the Strait of Hormuz. As we've seen, we've already worked with partner nations to release the Strategic Petroleum Reserve so that there can be some relief there in terms of fuel prices. But these are all temporary measures to ensure success in the long run. And President Trump knows what the power might of the U.S. military is. And after 47 years, like you said, we've done nothing, right? And so he had the options in front of him. He is using our military to do this and to do this quickly. And as we've seen from previous operations that the president has done, he wants to be effective and wants to get it done fast.
Yeah, I think we've got a lot of work to do. What do you see on tap for next week? I mean, obviously we want to get DHS open again, but what are you hearing are the things we need to watch for next week?
I think, again, DHS ending that hopefully soon. Look, Martha, I've got to travel in a couple weeks. I just as much want this DHS shutdown to be done as well. But we also have the SAVE Act. Again, the Democrats being on the wrong side of the issue here. They're putting illegals before Americans. President Trump was right when he was at the State of the Union and said, these people are crazy. They won't stand for Americans. And so the SAVE Act is simple, common sense legislation that needs to be passed. You just need an ID to vote, Martha. And it's amazing that they won't even get behind those kind of things.
Well, Teresa Morgenstern, thank you so much for being with us today. I always love talking to your husband. He's been on the show a few times, too. So we'll make it a family affair. Maybe we should have the two of you on sometime.
Oh, we'd love to. We wrote a book together. We worked at the White House together. We would love to join you together.
That's got to be hard, working at the White House together. You
would think, but it actually, it was a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. Have a great weekend, and don't get stuck in a TSA line.
Thank you. You too, Martha.
Thank you. Again, want to remind you folks that the press conference on the Gainesville police officer that was shot overnight is on our Instagram channel at AccessWDUN. Hope you have a fantastic